Let's Sleep Together by Flapjack09, read by Distracted by Books. Chapter 6, Izuku's Decision. So, I noticed the rest of Class 1H was getting chummy with my class during lunch today, Izuku offhandedly commented to Mei, a somewhat uncommon occurrence during their cuddling sessions. Usually their bodies did most of the talking, even more so after Mei built a bed large enough for them to swim in. So as brief as his words were, they still sparked Mei's attention, and she craned her neck around to face him. Oh, yeah, they found out about my experiment, and now they all want to try it for themselves. As usual, she looked at this issue from a purely practical perspective, though this viewpoint was not completely unfounded. If they get the same results as us, the support labs are going to be booming. Let me tell you. Izuku could feel her radiating grin as she snuggled in deeper against his backside. I guess, yeah, he hummed, still a little apprehensive toward the situation. Never in his life did he think he and Mei's strange arrangement would catch on. It's funny, though. I had to come clean to the rest of my class about our situation earlier today, so at least they won't get caught off guard like I did. That caught you off guard? Mei seemed surprised at that, to which Izuku was surprised by her surprise. Well, yeah, why wouldn't I be? I thought you hero types were supposed to be prepared for anything. You're always prepared to catch me when my explosions blast me out of the lab. That was by accident, but honestly, yeah, I should be more prepared for these kinds of things. Maybe that's why UA employed someone like Midnight to desensitize the students to anything sex-related. Well, you're prepared for cuddling, so that's one thing. To accentuate her point, she tightened her grip around his torso. The fact that Izuku no longer blushed at the pair of breasts pressing against his back spoke volumes to his development. Yeah, I guess. As relaxed as he should have felt at that moment, this closeness only served to remind Izuku of the thoughts he'd been trying and failing to sequester since this morning. Even now, he could still hear Mina's teasing tone echoing in his mind. You sure you don't want anything more? Honestly, he hated even humoring that idea. He was already unspeakably lucky to end up in this situation at all. How could he be so selfish as to ask for more? But he'd be lying to himself if he said he didn't want something a little more. He just couldn't help it. The heart wants what it wants, no matter how much it already has. Even if she said no, even if she laughed at his face for even suggesting such an idea, he had to at least shoot his shot. Otherwise, he wouldn't be able to get it off his mind, and that would risk ruining the cuddling experience for the both of them. Hatsume? He spoke up, his voice no louder than a mutter. But given their close proximity, she still heard him. What's up, Midoriya? The use of his actual name was not lost on Izuku. As sweet as it was to hear coming out of her mouth, it did little in soothing his nerves for what he was about to say next. There's something I want to ask you, but I'm not sure how to say it. Well, then just say it, Mei urged him on, never one to beat around the bush. It's not the kind of thing I can just say. He glanced away, pursing his lips. Sure you can. You can say anything, barring a collection of slurs and other offensive terms, that is. You're not trying to say that, are you? What? No! He detached himself from Mei, and the two were now fully facing each other on the bed. Then say it. What's the problem? There's no problem. Then come on, I'm all ears. I want to, but then do it. Say it. Just let me spit it out. I want to be the big spoon for once. He yelled at Mei, who was shocked into silence by his sudden jump in volume. It's just, I know our current setup is efficient and all, and I like being the little spoon, but I want to be the one to cuddle you for a change. He squeezed his eyes shut and turned away from Mei, feeling like he overstepped some invisible boundary. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to ruin the mood. You know what? Just Forget I said anything. We can get back to cuddling. And his voice was cut off when he felt a large mass snuggle up against his front side. He opened his eyes, shocked to find May with her back against him. Hatsume, what are you? Izuku? His mouth clammed shut at the use of his first name. This is an experiment, isn't it? Yeah. Then let's experiment. She spread her arms out wide, all but offering herself up to Izuku. Cuddle me. With a tone like that, how could he refuse? As if cuddling a piece of fine china, he carefully wrapped his arms around May's torso, and the two collapsed back down onto the bed. Izuku thought he'd have been used to the closeness by now, but this was like tackling it from a whole new angle. He knew her front side was tantalizingly soft, and the same held true for the rest of her body. With each inch of her he latched onto, there was a strange, almost otherworldly urge to hold on tighter, to get to know the entirety of May Hatsume, inside and out. May, likewise, was also taken aback by this new sensation. While acting as the big spoon, she had always felt around his entire body to get her time's worth and experience as much of him as possible. But now, he was around her. In fact, he was pretty much surrounding her from all sides, like the world's neediest blanket. But May didn't mind the neediness. In fact, she had no idea how she ever survived without it up until this point. This is nice, she mumbled, her eyelids already feeling heavy. Glad you agree. Izuku buried his face in the crook of her neck, the perfect pillow for him to fall asleep in, and May wasn't far behind. Good night, May. Good night, Izuku. The next day, Izuku, last night really opened my eyes, May stated, a fact which Izuku could tell based on the way she energetically paced back and forth around the room. That's good to hear, May. Izuku was still shocked they'd ended up on a first-name basis, but he chose to embrace it. He supposed it was just the next step after cuddling. In what way, though? In this way, she wheeled a whiteboard into the room, which held a series of drawings featuring pink and blue figures in a series of different positions. Even with my recent optimization efforts, there are still so many possibilities I've neglected. Why stick to spooning when there are dozens of different ways we could cuddle? You've really done your research. Izuku's eyes scanned across the board, his face growing a bit redder with each position he observed. Yep, so pick your favorite and we'll try it out tonight. Any of them, really. I don't really care. Any of them? That definitely sparked Izuku's imagination, even more so than before. What about that one? He pointed to a picture where the guy was lying atop the girl, using her stomach as a makeshift pillow. That one? May confusedly lifted her tank top, exposing her abdomen. You really like my belly that much? Mm-hmm. He nodded firmly, only a slight touch of embarrassment weighing down on him. Okay, then, we can start with that. She seemed satisfied with that response, much to Izuku's delight. He could already tell he was in for a fun and interesting few nights. End of chapter.